Today we're diving into Matthew chapter 13, and this is one of those chapters that marks a huge turning point in Jesus' ministry. It's the moment where he seems to flip a switch. He stops speaking so plainly and starts telling these stories, or parables. And honestly, understanding why he makes this change is one of the biggest keys to unlocking his entire message.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the big question that hangs over this whole chapter. After being so direct for so long, why does Jesus suddenly start talking in what feel like riddles? I mean, it almost seems like he was trying to be confusing. But as we're about to see, there was a very specific, very strategic reason for this dramatic shift.
So to really get why he did this, you have to zoom out and look at the context. For the first 10 chapters of Matthew's Gospel, Jesus is presenting himself as the long-awaited king. He's doing these unbelievable miracles, he's teaching with total clarity. But then in chapter 11, you feel the mood shift. He starts calling out the nation for their stubborn unbelief. And by chapter 12, that rejection hits a boiling point when the religious leaders accuse him of being empowered by Satan himself. That is the breaking point. After that, everything changes.
So here's how we're going to break this all down to solve the mystery. First, we'll look closer at this turning point. Then we'll see why the parables are like a double-edged sword. After that, we'll uncover the secrets of the kingdom he was revealing. And finally, we'll see it all play out in a real-life test when he goes back to his hometown.
And hey, if you're confused by this change in teaching style, you're in good company. Even his own disciples, his inner circle, were scratching their heads. They pulled him aside and asked him straight up, "Why are you speaking to people in parables now?" And his answer is the key to this whole chapter, revealing that these stories are kind of like a double-edged sword.
But first things first, what even is a parable? Well, the word basically means to lay something beside another thing. Think of it as an analogy. Jesus takes a simple, earthly story about something everyone understood, like farming or fishing, and he lays it beside a deeper, heavenly truth to help us get it.
And here is the twist. Jesus explains that his parables aren't just cute illustrations to make things easier for everybody. Nope, they actually have a dual purpose. They are designed to simultaneously reveal the truth to some people and conceal it from others. He says this directly to his disciples. He basically tells them, look, for you guys, for anyone with an open heart who genuinely wants to understand, these stories are going to be like keys that unlock the deepest secrets of God's kingdom. But for the crowds, for the leaders who had already rejected him and hardened their hearts, the parables would just sound like confusing stories. It was actually a form of judgment on their unbelief. So the crucial point is this: how a person responds to the parables isn't an IQ test, it's a heart test. It reveals the true condition of your heart. So if the parables are revealing these secrets to those with open hearts, what exactly are these secrets? What are these secrets of the kingdom that Jesus was now entrusting only to his true followers? Let's get into it.
Well, the biggest secret is that the kind of kingdom everyone was expecting, an immediate, powerful political takeover, that was being postponed. Instead, the kingdom would now exist in what's called a mystery form. And this is the period we're living in right now, a time when God's rule is at work in the world, but in a hidden, subtle, and often very unexpected way.
So the first secret Jesus pulls back the curtain on explains something the disciples must have been wondering. If this message is so amazing, why isn't everyone accepting it? Why isn't it taking off like wildfire?
He explains this with the famous parable of the sower. He says the message of the kingdom, the seed, is sown everywhere, broadcast widely, but whether it grows or not has everything to do with the soil, which represents the human heart. Some hearts are hard-packed roads, some are shallow and rocky, some are choked with weeds, but some are good soil, ready to receive the message and produce an incredible harvest. Now, this next secret addresses a question we still ask all the time. If God's kingdom is at work, why is there still so much evil in the world? And, maybe even tougher, why is there so much hypocrisy, even within groups of believers?
The parable of the wheat and weeds gives a really startling answer. Jesus says he sows good seed, that's true believers, in the field. But he makes a crucial point. The field is the world, not the church. And his enemy comes and sows weeds, or false believers, right there among the wheat. And for now, he says, let them grow together. A great separation is coming at the end of the age, but not yet.
This next secret just shatters the popular expectation of a massive, powerful, instant movement. Everyone was looking for a revolution, an explosion, and Jesus says, nope, this kingdom is going to start in a way that's almost laughably small.
He gives us two amazing pictures for this.
On one hand, it's like a tiny mustard seed. It starts as basically nothing, but it grows into this huge visible structure that offers shelter to others. At the same time, it's like leaven or yeast. It's hidden inside the dough, working invisibly to change everything from the inside out. So the kingdom has both this outward visible growth and this internal, invisible influence.
Okay, so let's be real. If the kingdom is hidden, if it's misunderstood, if it's going to face all this opposition, is it really worth it? Jesus answers this question with two final, really powerful parables that are aimed directly at his disciples.
A man just stumbles on a treasure in a field, and he's so filled with joy that he goes and sells everything he has to buy that field. A merchant finds one perfect pearl, the pearl of a lifetime, and he sells all his other pearls to get that one. The message is just unmistakable. Finding the kingdom is so profoundly valuable that it's worth your absolute 100% commitment. It's worth everything you have.
Now, this chapter doesn't just end with a bunch of theories. It wraps up with a real-life story that shows all these principles in action. It's a powerful and, honestly, kind of tragic case study.
So after teaching all these things, Jesus goes back home to Nazareth. I mean, these are the people who knew him best. They watched him grow up, they knew his family. This is the ultimate chance for them to be that good soil we talked about.
But their response? It's just pure skepticism. You can almost hear them talking amongst themselves, right? Wait a minute, isn't this just the carpenter's kid? We know his mom, we know his brothers. Their familiarity completely blinded them to who he really was. Their hearts were that hard-packed path.
And this is the heartbreaking result. It says he didn't do many miracles there because of their lack of faith. Their unbelief was a barrier. They missed out on the power and the blessing of the kingdom that was standing right there in front of them, all because they couldn't see its value.
So Matthew 13 leaves every single one of us with a profound challenge. Hearing these stories isn't just about learning ancient history. The parables are still a test for our hearts today. They're still asking us, what kind of soil are we? Are we willing to see the immeasurable value of the kingdom even when it shows up in ways we don't expect? What does our response reveal about us?